Hi, first grade. So today we're going to be reading chapter 21, the very last chapter of The Secret Garden. Chapter 21 is titled Father, It's Me. So in the last episode, we kind of guessed that Lord Craven was going to go back to Misselthwaite Manor. And today, just by the title, Father, It's Me, he does. So let's start reading together chapter 21 of The Secret Garden. A few days later, Lord Craven was in Yorkshire again, traveling home by railroad. During the entire trip, he thought of nothing but his son. He thought of the poor boy lying in his dreary room in the sad bed. Lord Craven cried, ashamed of how poorly he had treated Colin. He decided to visit Colin that night and beg for his forgiveness. Perhaps it was not too late to become a real father to his boy. When Lord Craven arrived at the manor, it was midday and the sun was shining. He stood at the door to the manor and looked out at his gardens. Everything looked beautiful, and he could smell the roses. The roses immediately reminded him of his wife and the dream. How real that dream had been, he thought. How wonderful and clear the voice was when it called to him. In the garden, in the garden. I will try to find the key, he said. I will try to open the door. I must. Mrs. Medlock came up behind him. Lord Craven, welcome home. Thank you, Lord Craven said. How is Colin? He inquired. Mrs. Medlock had a strange look on her face. He's different, was all she could say. Where is Colin now? Lord Craven asked. In the garden, sir. He's always in the garden. No one is allowed to go near. He doesn't want them looking at him. Lord Craven barely heard her last words. In the garden, he repeated. In the garden. Lord Craven walked along the path. He passed Ben Weatherstaff's vegetable garden and went through the orchard. Soon he reached the high, ivory-covered wall. The sight of it made him tremble. It had been a long time since he had seen that wall. He walked along the wall, trying to remember where he had buried the key. He walked slowly, searching every inch of the ground, but he just couldn't remember where he had buried it. Then, with a stroke of luck, Lord Craven found the door. And to his surprise, it was open. He stood very still, then reached out and pushed the door open further. Hearing a strange sound, he passed through that door hearing a strange sound, he paused. No human being had passed through that door in 10 years, but from inside the garden he was hearing sounds of scuffling feet and muffled laughter, the laughter of children. Lord Craven was sure he was dreaming, but when he stepped into a garden, a boy suddenly burst forth at full speed and fell into Lord Craven's arms. Dazed, Lord Craven caught the youngster. He held him away to get a better look. Suddenly, he gasped with a shock, seeing Colin's eyes so big and gray. Father, it's me, Colin. Lord Craven could not stop looking at Colin's face. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. But how? He started to say. It was the garden, Colin told him, and Mary and Dickon and the creatures. I wanted to keep it a secret until you came. I'm well, Father. Lord Craven choked back the tears. Trembling with joy, he hugged his son tightly. My son, he sobbed. Now it doesn't have to be a secret anymore, Colin said. It will probably scare everyone out of their wits when they see me. I am never getting back into that chair again. I shall walk back to the manor with you, Father. Ben Weatherstaff was bringing barrels of vegetables into Mrs. Medlock's kitchen when he heard Martha's screams, along with Mrs. Medlock and Dr. Craven. He ran down to the front door of the manor. Who is it, Martha? Mrs. Medlock asked anxiously. Martha was speechless. All she could do was point at the window. to the two figures walking up the path toward the manor. Mrs. Medlock followed her gaze. Suddenly, she screamed loud enough to attract every servant in the house. Everyone watched as Lord Craven walked happily to the manor. By his side, with his head held high in the air and his eyes full of laughter, was Master Colin Craven. The young boy was walking as strongly as any other 10-year-old boy. The end. All right, that ends our story of The Secret Garden. This, again, is just one of my favorite books. It just tells about redemption and just what the love and care of others can do for you. So I want you guys to remember that always be kind. You never know what kind of day someone is having, what their life is like, and we can only control us. And so being kind, no matter what, will help strengthen anyone. It also helps show God's love through us, and it helps us shine our light onto everyone that we're around. So I hope you guys enjoyed The Secret Garden, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.